Oh, oh boy. We got another lawsuit. No, it's not NASCAR this time. It's college football. And this time, it's none other than Texas Tech, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and Brendan Sorsby. What is up, everybody? It is Mars Sports. It's your boy, Marshall, and I love me some college football. We're about 2.5 months away from week zero. I think the first game is TCU versus North Carolina, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's the first game on that day, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, but we're getting very close to college football starting. And this has been a interesting off season to say the least. We've had a lot of stuff happen. I guess kind of the all-star ever since the regular season ended, it's been wild. We had Lane Kiffin go to LSU after by leaving we left Ole Miss during this playoff run, which worked out for us so far at least. Hopefully the team's good as well. Had Sharon Moore get arrested, which led to Kyle Whittingham coming out of a very short retirement of like a few days, because he retired as a coach of Utah, and then he went to unretired to coach Michigan, which I will admit, as great as Utah's been, Michigan's probably a better gig, plus better conference. Yeah, and we'll get to conferences in a bit. We also had a bipartisan bill, and I know I don't talk about politics, but in the courthouse politics to a point where the president had to get involved as what is it was the Protect College Sports Act, which is a bipartisan bill by a Republican and senator of my former state, Ted Cruz, and who else is it? And something Cantwell. Uh, let's see. Who 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 suggested it? Who's the other one that suggested it? Who who proposed? Sorry, I'm getting so sidetracked. Maria Cantwell, who's a Democrat from Washington. Uh, so so it's getting that's also about the NIL, the transfer stuff, and all that and eligibility. It's getting to a point where literally both parties are getting involved, and normally you don't see that very much. But yeah, but I think we'll probably talk about that in a different video, honestly. But yeah, but it's been a wild off season. We had the Damon Williams stuff happen. I think it was like he left, he went to transfer portal and he came back or something. It was weird. Um, yeah, Ed Orgeron came out of retirement basically as one of LSU's coaches. Go Tigers! I love that. But there's also been some stuff in regards to a particular quarterback from the transfer portal. Nothing necessarily to do with the transfer, but today we're talking about Brendan Sorsby in Texas, mainly Texas Tech, honestly, at this point. We're just going to summarize it all, but we're talking about Brendan Sorsby controversy today. I've been too quiet on this for too long, but it's getting to a point where Texas Tech is literally getting sued by the Big 12 to a point where they might not even be eligible to compete in the Big 12 championship. But I literally made my predictions yesterday, or not yesterday. Yeah, I literally made my college football predictions the other day, and Texas Tech was in the championship. I had BYU winning it, but just because all the controversy, but still. I literally have freaking Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. So if that's the case, then Houston's making the Big 12 championship at this rate. But because yes, I predicted Houston to go 11-1, but for some reason the system didn't have them making the playoffs. Had a 9-3 Texas making the playoffs instead. What do I know? But Brendan Sorsby timeline. So yeah, let's talk about Brendan Sorsby. Let's talk about his career. Brendan Sorsby was highly recruited. I think yeah, he was highly recruited. He played high school football in the great state of Texas. He went to Lake Dallas High School from 2018 2022. He was their starting quarterback for Lake Dallas. That's actually where Isaiah went to school at. Shout out to Isaiah. Um, And well, Isaiah didn't go to school at the same time as Brendan did, but still, Brendan graduated before Isaiah started. But Isaiah was at Marcus before that. But yeah, Marcus isn't flying. That's that one where Colton Nussmeier originally went, and then Garrett Nussmeier, of course. But yeah, Colton Nussmeier is that then route. We'll talk about high school football later on like a different day. But we'll talk about once I get my Dave Campbell's magazine, we'll talk about some stuff. But I'll finalize our predictions. But Brendan Sorsby, he was a high school football player, and then Indiana before they got good. Indiana, he went to Indiana to start his college career at, and he was there for about 2 years, I think. How long was Brendan? How long was Brendan Sorsby in jail? Indiana. He was there for 2 seasons. He was a true he redshirted and he redshirted in 2022. 2023, he took over as the primary starting quarterback, playing 10 games with 7 starts for as and all that with 1,587 yards and 50 touchdowns. So this was before Kirk and Nettie saved Indiana. This was Indiana was still really really trash at football. But Brendan Sorsby went to Cincinnati after that, and then Brendan Sorsby. This is where he started to pop up on the scene a bit. This was where he's been since 2024. Uh, but yeah, but he was really good last year. But he got better. He got better at the time. 2020, 2024. 2024 was the only. He had some really good moments in Cincinnati. It's 2024. He apparently was the only FBS quarterback to log a 425-yard passing game and a 125 rushing game in the single contest. He was the only FBS quarterback to do that season. Then 2025, he threw for elite numbers. He threw for 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Has had with 9 rushing touchdowns as well. Or he got second team All Big 12 honors. And then and then he transferred to Texas Tech. He hit the transfer portal again. He was down to like Texas Tech. I know LSU was originally supposed to get him at one point. Thank God we did not get him. Um, yeah, I'll take Sam Levitt over him. I was already taking him over him in general. But especially like based on like stars and all, but not that Brent Swords is a great quarterback, but I feel like Sam Levitt would probably work better for LSU. But I'm extra glad now because the Brendan Sorsby stuff. He transferred to Texas Tech. Texas Tech has become the best. They're basically trying to become a powerhouse. I respect it. They're doing it through money, to be fair. But yeah. But but he transferred to Texas Tech. When did he transfer to Texas Tech? And when did he? Sorry, I'm trying to trying to AI some of this. Let's call me lazy all you want. When did the allegations of gambling come out? All right, let's see. Let's see what AI says. As as this was January 2026 that he transferred there. So this was a few months ago. This was about 5 months ago. And then this is when the transfer portal is open. That's when they moved the transfer portal to. And then April 27, 2000, and then April 14th. Let's see. So let's see. According to this timeline, March 2020 26, law enforcement authorities flagged suspicious activity from a sportsbook operator and alerted the NCAA. Uh, so that kind of started it. This was back in March, by the way. On April 14th, the NCAA quietly notified Texas Tech that Soros was under investigation for wagering violations. That's when it started to like come out there. And in April 27th, the scandal became public. This is when it was revealed to the public as Texas Tech announced Sorsby was stepping away from football to enter an inpatient rehabilitation program for a gambling addiction. And currently, media reports detail that he had placed 1,000 bets and at least 40 wagers on Indiana football on the Hoosiers roster in 2022. Uh, so yes, Brendan Sorsby bet on his own team. We've seen betting allegations and we've seen the betting stuff and in NFL. Like I think it was Calvin Ridley that started it, or at least was the first one that I heard of. And then like Jamison Williams, pretty sure also had one too. There were a lot of players had gambling stuff, but here's my opinion on gambling. Only do if you're actually have to have money, and only do if you're responsible. Like I don't recommend doing gambling. Don't like it's maybe it's fun to do like once or twice, but don't don't like do it regularly. Like come on, bro. I'm not gonna gamble on Bridgewater State football, bro. Hundred like what Brand Sorsby bet on like Dallas football. Wait, if he bet on like Dallas football, at 2 years after 1 or 2 years after he graduated, that means I would have been at those games that he bet on. I don't know if he betted on that. I don't think he can bet on high school football, but yeah. Uh, did he place bets at Cincinnati as well? Sorry, I'm trying to. Sorry, this is like the worst video ever. It's fine. Uh, yeah, apparently, yes, he did place. I just want to give you all the most accurate information. He did place bets at Cincinnati as well. Um, apparently he did not bet on his football team though. Uh, but he did bet on some other sports. And apparently he was doing it under 21 too, so that's even more illegal. Um, did bro go to Winstar for his 18th birthday and was like, "This is awesome. I'm gonna do this the rest of my life, bro." Like, come on. I love Winstar. I've never been there before. Actually, never been to gamble there before. I've only been there twice for concerts, but yeah, it's a great place. But as everyone goes for the 18th birthday, I didn't go because I want to keep my money. Yeah, but yeah, it was just crazy. But man, I've literally seen this all over the news, bro. It's made national headlines at this point, and now it's getting and then uh, but now it's getting to but then the rulings happen, and then this is where things start to take a turn for the worst. Uh, but there was getting to a point where Brendan Sorsby would not be able to play for the 2026 season. Maybe a lifetime ban from the NCAA. As May 20th, 2026, this was the day before I graduated high school. Sorsby returns from rehab and immediately sues the NCAA Lubbock. It immediately sues the NCAA in Lubbock County District Court. As his lawyers are arguing his gambling was addiction and medical compulsion, he's seeking a temporary injunction to preserve his 2026 eligibility. So at that point, you're just begging just to play. And I'm sure Texas Tech wants Sorsby to play, even with all the stuff, like as long as he's recovering. I'm sure he wants him to play as long as he's not gambling. Because I mean, the next best option is Will Hammond. I mean, he was at Hutto High School and he put like 80 point or not Hutto, Liberty Hill High School a long time ago, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was in that 82 to 80 game. If you know, you know. And then uh and then basically hold on. But but the controversy gets very weird in a bit, and you'll see, but like because it's this has all happened over the last few weeks. But it got to a point But it got to a point where Brendan Sorsby was banned from NCAA for life. Like he was not allowed to play. So that would have meant he probably had to go to the NFL at that point or UFL or something just to get somewhere to play. So yeah, that happened. Then Brendan Sorsby, but Texas Tech did appeal as they should, uh, in my opinion. Just so and even if as bad situation is, I think it's still worth appealing just so you can try to get something out of it. But But then, but then, the NCAA rejected their appeal, and just basic. So then Brendan Sorsby was just done with college football as a whole. So theoretically, this should be done. Brendan Sorsby's career is over. No. Th this controversy is nowhere near the end. And honestly, there's still more to come, in my opinion. There's still gonna be more to come. Uh, but this was also during discussions. Hold on. This was also during actually, I'll mention that in a later time. But basically, but what happened next was the thing that really made this pop off like crazy. Not in a good way, but June 8, 2026, literally a week ago today. In a massive shockwave, Judge Ken Curry grants Brendan Sorsby a temporary injunction, allowing him to play in 2026 after serving a self-imposed two-game suspension, provided he stays in the addiction treatment. So, in this case, he would have. So, after NCAA literally ruled against his stuff, making him ineligible to play forever, rejecting Texas Tech's appeal, a random judge in Lubbock, or I think this was Dallas. I don't know where this was. Was it Dallas, Fort Worth? This was in Texas somewhere. I think it was either Fort Worth or Lubbock. A random judge ruled, gave him a temporary injunction, allowing Sorsby to play in 2026. So you're telling me a random Court County judge, from what I can tell, this is kind of political too, I will admit, but a random Court County judge has more authority than the NCAA, the one that runs the league. How is that supposed to make any sense? Here's my opinion on this. Texas Tech did what they tried. Texas Tech, I think they did what they could have done, did what they should have done, like to help Sorsby try to play. And it's not like they're like all in the wrong. That yet they did some things wrong, obviously, but it's not like Texas Tech is as big of a villain as uh as it looks like they are, but allowing him to play is what's making people not happy. Um, and at this point, and but they're following through with it, and this led to a lot of controversy, a lot of controversy. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. Let me tell about a personal story real quick. Let's focus on the lawsuit. Texas Tech was one of the first college football teams I've ever seen play in person. The first game I went to was like I think 2012 or something. It was Texas versus TCU. It was in Austin. And then my first LSU game, which was in 2015. This is when Patrick Mahomes was still playing at Texas Tech, by the way, when Cliff Kingsbury was still there coaching. LSU, my first LSU game was against Texas Tech at the Texas Bowl a few years ago. LSU won by like 29 points, but it was really fun. Texas Tech was one of the first college football teams I've ever seen play in person. So that's pretty epic. Um, but Texas Tech, honestly, they have not been they have not been as popular or they were not as good as they are now. Their defense was practically invisible for their existence, but they finally got good last year because they had a lot of players there. Um, got a lot of players that are transfer pro, offering them a lot of money. So I mean, Texas Tech's used to money at this point. But yeah. By the way, I have nothing against Texas Tech as a school. I know people that go to Texas Tech. A lot of people from my school are going to Texas Tech or go there already that graduated a few years ago. Like it's a good school. The tortilla throwing tradition is pretty epic too. It's a good school. And their football team's gotten really good. There's a reason why they got shut out in their playoff game. There's a reason why they had that auto buy. Um, like there's, but and I know people are eventually gonna go to Texas Tech. There's a wide receiver from my old school, Argyle, named shout out to Julian Caldwell. He's going to Texas Tech next year, as long as he stays committed. But yeah, but it's Texas Tech is probably the biggest the fastest rising program in college football right now. Like they've taken their program to a whole new level over the last few years. It's really last year. Or I guess last few years. And like it's crazy what they're doing. It's pretty epic to see. Like they got of course, Joe McGuire's their coach, Cedar Hill High School legend, by the way, for Texas football people, Texas high school football people, including myself. I used to live pretty close to Cedar Hill, by the way. I lived there. when I lived in Mansfield/Grand Prairie, I was very close to Cedar Hill. Um, but anyways, but Texas Tech's been one of those rising programs. They got more media coverage than I've ever seen them get. Like Texas Tech's usually just a footballer, usually good like at softball and all that. Like they've been really good at softball, obviously. But now they're suddenly a football powerhouse. It's insane. I think they spent like the most money on players last year, something like that, or something like that, or up there at least. But yeah, the Texas Tech, their rising program, but this controversy could for sure hurt that rise. Like, let's see this. So like June 19th through 14th, and then the last. This is really last week. There were teams were outraged for good reason, outraged at the situation, basically giving unfair treatment. I saw a point where, as amazing as this would be, it's not. This shouldn't happen, just randomly. This is people were comparing this to like if a random judge allowed Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase to come play for LSU in their bye week. It's literally the equivalent of that. Which that would be, as an LSU fan, that would be amazing to see them come back. But at the same time, that's illegal. It's way against the rules. And then Brendan Sorsby. Now, yeah, Brendan Sorsby. Um, like it wasn't even the NCAA said no, but apparently a local judge says now he can play. Like it's crazy, and we're nowhere near the end of this. I think as the offseason goes on, who knows? And there are teams literally outright telling them, there's literally colleges outright telling their athletic directors and all that not to schedule Texas Tech, not just football, but any sport, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey. I don't even know if they have hockey teams, but still, they have hockey teams, etc. Georgia said no Texas Tech. Nebraska, a former Big 12 foe of Texas Tech, no Nebraska. There it got to a point where the Big Ten came together, had a meeting just to determine if they should play Texas Tech or not. They said they're not going to ban that, but still, it's getting to a point where Big 12 teams don't even want to play them anymore. And then this is probably it's a big reason why we're talking about the next topic, the main topic of the video about Texas Tech. Literally, he were literally coming like the biggest punching bag in the sport over the last week. And this is all in route. This is all happening where a recent report suggests Texas coach Steve Sarkisian said Texas Tech's schedule is very soft. Their second and third string players could win all those games. And and what is it? Um I blanked out, sorry. And Joy McGuire literally said to that's why I was like, you know what? Come play us week one. And he literally reached out to their week one opponents to see if they can do that. Um like Texas reached out to Tech. I think they're playing Texas State week one, and then Texas Tech's supposed to play Abilene Christian week one. Although who knows with how Texas Tech stuff's going right now. Um, but it's getting wild. But yeah, but if that, I don't think that I highly doubt that's gonna happen. Even then, I didn't think that was gonna happen, just because it's so late in the off season to do that. There's literally teams that schedule matchups over a decade in advance. Like ask Oklahoma and Clemson. I'm pretty sure schedule like a matchup for like 2036. I don't even know, something like that. But or 11 years in the future. But yeah, but it's getting to, but it's getting to a point where like teams don't even want to play Texas Tech anymore. I mean, for good reason. They're kind of cheating the rule book. I mean, it's not really. I think it's mainly they mainly just trying to find loopholes. I don't know if it's all Texas Tech doing it, but like maybe it's just like Brandon Sorsey's legal team. But who knows? Texas Tech has a part of it. I'm sure like they're obviously I get they want their quarterback to play. I get that, but like when there's a point where they can't say rule ineligible, you can't just go out. It looks bad when you go out and just like get eligibility for someone else. It's not even affiliated with. I don't know how that's affiliated with the NCAA. And yes, it's a two-game ban, so there's that. And it's a pretty injunction, but it's not like they get every year. It's not like a football player, NFL player, where they have where they have unlimited years and all that. Um, let's see, where the heck is it? Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Um, but what was I looking for? But Texas Tech. Yes, it's a two-game ban, but you look at the teams they're playing the first 2 weeks. I gotta verify this. Like, they don't even need Brendan Sorsby in those games, honestly. Like, they could put Will Hammond out there, they'll be fine. Um, but their first two games are against Abilene Christian and Oregon State. Let's be real here. Those are, well, Abilene Christian might not be a cupcake after what happened 2 years ago. Shout out to Aiden, by the way. He's going there. Abilene Christian's got a good football team. And they almost beat Texas Tech in overtime a few years ago. Like 2 years ago, they lost them by 1 point. So if they lose that game, that would be crazy. If Texas Tech loses to Abilene Christian. I mean, Abilene Christian knows how to compete with Texas Tech. But granted, that Texas Tech team was not as good as they are now. And honestly, they'll probably beat Abilene Christian at this rate. Abilene Christian's FCS, to be fair. They got a good team, though, I will say. And Oregon State, they were trash last year. Yes, they're in the Pac-12, which actually has teams in there now. Pac-12 is not a power conference anymore. Let's be real here. They're the equivalent to the like American and the Mountain West at this. We're practically a neo Mountain West at this point. Or Mountain West Junior at this point. Um, because like you look at the teams in there, you got Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State, Boise State, San Diego State, um, Colorado State, um, Utah State, and Texas State. Most of those teams from the Mountain West. So it's not like they're a power conference. Let's be real. There's good teams like San Diego State. San Diego State and Boise State are really good teams from last year. Fresno State's decent. Lane Kiffin used to be quarterback and coach there, I'm pretty sure. I think he was quarterback. I don't know. Colorado State's got Jim Moore now, so they'll be better. Texas State's had good games in the past, had good seasons in the past. They've shown flashes. Utah State has shown flash. I mean, now and of course Oregon Wazoo used to be in power conferences, but at the same time, and maybe I'm sorry if I forgot one, but at the same time, though, it's not like you're playing Texas or anything. Now, if you're playing Texas week 1, that's a different situation, which they could do theoretically, but I don't know if after all this, I don't know. I don't think Texas Tech would be lucky to have anyone play them at this point. But it's games, so yeah. But it got to a point. Like it's not like they're going to be like I'm just saying. The two games Brendan Sorsby is suspended himself from. I assume it's the first two. Um, they're against opponents they should be heavily favored against, in my opinion. Like Oregon State would be better this year, I think, but. And Abilene Christian, yes, I know they almost beat them a few years ago, but I imagine Texas Tech will do better this time. Yeah, plus Abilene Christian did get crushed by Tulsa last year, to be fair. Although Tulsa did beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State sucked. Anyways, so there's that part. And then now we've made it here today. Um, whoa, hold on. Today, the NCAA files emergency motion for expedited appeal to reverse the injunction before the season kicks off. So that happened today, I guess. This was this. Oh wow, this came like an hour ago, and then this is probably the big domino that fell. Well, obviously it's a big domino, but still multiple dominoes, obviously. Um, but today, oh frick. Sorry, I glitched out. Sorry, but today, the Big 12 sues Texas Tech. In Texas, um, in the Big East, what the heck? And then in Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, um, he's he's known to be polarizing, but yeah, he's known to be polarizing, but in this case, he's getting involved in the situation. He's Ken Paxton asking a federal court for the right to sanction a school if they choose to field sanction the school if they choose to field Sorsby this autumn. Whoa. Oh man. So it's getting to a point where it's going to federal court. I guess they really don't want Sorsby to play, like for good reason. Sorsby did some stuff he shouldn't have, but man, I'm so glad LSU did not get him. But what does it mean to sanction a school? what's this? To so either means approval permission or penalty or punishment in this case, probably. So massive penalty, which I mean at this point for Texas Tech could be mean something really, really bad. So Texas Tech probably wants to come to a compromise at least, or like give up. Like just at this point, the best thing to do. Let's probably not have Sorsby play just because all the controversy. Yeah, but or give him like a year off or I don't know. But Texas Tech does sue him. Um, so let's just go to this Instagram post real quick. This is from College Football Kings. Great, great freaking account. I love that account. This is where I get a lot of my college football news at. But let's just take a look at this for a second. So the Big 12 has filed a 47 page complaint against Texas Tech and the state of Texas Attorney General. I assume that's Ken Paxton they're referencing, seeking a preliminary injunction which would allow the conference to sanction Texas Tech. So, yeah, Texas Tech might get penalized at this rate. Um, um, the complaint references potential sanctions the board would consider under bylaws include monetary sanctions and or a ban on competing in the Big 12 championship game. Should have waited a day later to make my predictions, but yeah, it's fine. Anyways, in addition to receiving support from the Oklahoma AG last week, the Big 12 also has another back at Kansas AG, Chris Kobach. What's the AG? Hold on. Is you get to see some of my search history. Yeah, I was watching the Uvalde, a very sad Uvalde documentary the other day. Um, I was wondering that. Yeah, Epstein Island. That's what I was originally searching that. Um, but what is it? At a college. I don't even know what that means, but um, what does AG mean in college? Dang it, I can't find. It's fine. That's AG something. But uh, yeah. But I assume it's someone higher up. But quote to not be. I think that's government. I don't know. Is it Attorney General? Okay, that makes more sense. I was thinking like a college, athletic director. So Kobach wrote a letter to the Big 12 saying that they should not be intimidated by the Texas Attorney General's letter, that they should be allowed to enforce their rules, and and that he's ready to assist them. Wild times. So yeah. But let's just look through some of this. We have a whole article on this too, but the Big 12 has filed a legal complaint in federal court against Texas Tech and the Texas Attorney General a seeking declaratory judgment and a preliminary injunction to force its bylaws and potential sanction the school for its plans to play Brendan Sorsby. Uh, so not looking good for Sorsby, and also at this point, not looking good for Texas Tech next season. Let's see. To this date, no vote on sanctions has taken place because of legal uncertainty created by the Attorney General. Letters discussed below in the specific threat by the Texas Attorney General. If a vote, uh, if a vote were to occur, some of the potential sanctions on the board could consider under the bylaws include monetary sanctions and or a ban on competing in the Big 12 championship game. So I mean, they get sued and they get all their NIL money taken away or something. I don't know. Or no Big 12 championship game, which means they might not even be eligible for the playoffs at that point. I could definitely see like a bowl ineligibility. There's also, I don't want to bring this up necessarily, but there's also the death penalty. And in a different Texas school. got the death penalty in SMU. I don't know. I don't think it'll go to that, but let's say actually do play him. I don't know. I highly even think I was highly doubt it's gonna go to the death penalty. That's a whole pain in the butt. Is Brendan or is Ken Paxton with or against Texas Tech? Oh wow, there he's on Texas Tech's side, so that makes sense. I think that's from what I saw from what I was reading on here. So let's see. It says $200 million threat on June 11th, which is a few days ago. He said warning that he sent a stern base. I can't read. He sent a stern warning letter on behalf of his client, Texas Tech, to the Big 12. Texas Tech is a client, like everyone's a client there, to the Big 12 conference. He declared that if the conference tried to bypass the quarter to penalize Texas Tech, would face over $200 million in antitrust and breach of contract liability. So threats coming from both sides at this point. The co-defendant status, because Paxton is shielding University, Big 12 named Kim Paxton alongside Texas Tech as co-defendants in the federal lawsuit it filed today. The conference is asking a federal judge to stop Paxton from coercing or punishing the league for enforcing its internal sports integrity rules. So I don't know. I mean, NCAA did say what they said, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's a whole court case. I need to hear both sides first in depth. But yeah, the political backlash. We never talk about politics any of our channels, period. But Paxton defense's shield Texas Tech has drawn fierce cross-border friction. For example, Oklahoma Attorney General Genter Drummond openly blasted Paxton's threats, calling them meritless and facially absurd, while accusing the state of Texas of choosing winning over athletic honor. So clearly they want Texas Tech to play at this point. Yeah, Paxton Rain's Tech's primary legal muscle arc, and that a valid court order allows Sorsby to play, and that conferences must respect it. So I mean, of course, Ken Paxton, of course, like he's running for senator. I'm pretty sure he has that, but now he's defending Texas Tech. So I mean, I get it. Like, for good sports makes Texas look good, like the state of Texas, but at the same time. Texas Tech did do some stuff. So, I mean, I need to hear both sides first. Maybe there's some uncertainty. I don't know. Because clearly the rules seem a little, I don't know how to put this, a little broad, like a little, like not like necessarily, not very clear. I don't know. I don't know if it's clear or not, but yeah. But it's very intriguing. But is this a federal case? Let's see, is this a federal case? Wow. So it's a U.S. It's a federal court case at this point. That's huge. But yeah, let's just see. But the Big 12 should not be intended by the Texas Act. Let's see. The Texas 12, as attorney generals are siding with Big 12 now. Because it makes sense that Ken Paxton's siding with Texas Tech just because it is Texas. It's one of Texas's premier universities, but still. But yeah, we'll see. But a lot of people are getting involved in this. Just honestly, at this point, honestly, I think this NCAA needs some better rules at this point. But let's see. It says the Big 12 should not be intimidated. While I do not take a position on the underlying facts of what action, if any, the Big 12 should take in response to the Texas Tech athlete at issue, it is important for the integrity of college football that the conference convene to analyze any applicable sanction. It is my understanding that the Texas Tech athlete was granted a temporary injunction by the Texas State Court against the NCAA, not the Big 12. This reinstated his athletic eligibility for the 2026 season. The injunction does not appear to prevent the Big 12 from convening and considering a sanction against Texas Tech or the athlete consistent with its own rules and bylaws. Board of Regents can case cited above recognize that rules preserving the integrity of athletic competition serve legit pro-competitive ends, whatever 468 U.S. at 117 means. If the Texas Attorney General's office takes any action beyond its poorly reasoned letter, my office stands ready to assist the conference with make support or other assistance as appropriate. The Big 12 is an association that adopts and enforces its own rules. Conferences consistent with established precedent, routinely taken action, force their rules and bylaws when players, coaches, or university have allegedly violated the rules. Sincerely, Chris W. Kobach, Kansas Attorney General. So, a lot of people are not threatened by Ken Paxton's remarks. This is weird talking about politics, but it's sports related, so I'll let it pass. I'll let this one pass by, or let this one slide this time. But yeah, but basically, eh, Ken Paxton's had a lot of threats, but it's all going to come down to like what the court case happens. Right now, I'm probably on the Big 12 side, but I need to hear both sides first because maybe the other side has something. Because yeah, because yes, it does seem a little sketchy, but who knows? Maybe the rules weren't specifically enforced. Who knows? You never know. Let's just read this. This is by Pete Thamel, very well respected reporter in the sports world. Um, and then an ongoing saga over the future of Brendan Sorsby, the Big 12 has made it clear it does not want to be pushed around the court. The league filed a federal lawsuit Monday seeking in the Northern District of Texas, seeking both a declaratory judgment and injunctive relief to allow the league the authority to use its bylaws to potentially punish Sorsby. Uh, the filing seeks a declaratory judgment. God dang, a declaratory judgment that the First Amendment protects wow, again, amendments now. The First Amendment protects the conference's right to invoke its authority under its bylaws to sanction Texas Tech. Why isn't it why isn't it brackets? Related to its handling of the sports betting activity discussed in this complaint, including if Texas Tech fields a student athlete in Big 12 competition who has engaged in collegiate sports betting activity, or engaged in collegiate sports betting activity, not or. Like it's all one thing, I guess. The move is a legal counter to a letter from the Texas Attorney General last week, which warned that any sanctions imposed by the Big 12 be unlawful and countered by legal action. Kenneth, I didn't realize his real name was Kenneth. That makes sense. He's listed as a defendant along with Chancellor, President, and Athletic Director of Texas Tech. Makes sense that they're defendants. This is all playing out in the wake of a judge granting Sorsby a temporary injunction on June 8th that essentially has cleared the way for him to play Texas Tech in 2026 after Sorsby broke the NCAA rules by betting. Wow, thousands of times. I didn't realize it was that many. Jeez. Including 40 times in Indiana football while he was on the team's roster. Jeez. So multiple bets per game. Jeez. Um, uh, Big 12 the Big 12 presidents are set to meet Monday to discuss potential punishments for Sorsby, but sources have indicated that they're not expecting to make any definitive decisions. The Big 12's federal suit includes a request for an injunction to allow the league to enforce its own rules at the heart of this is Big 12 bylaw 3.6, which allows the league via a supermajority vote to decide whether Texas Tech conducts warrant sanctions. Whoa, we're getting warrants? Dang. I mean, you got a warrant out for your arrest. Sorry. The suit seeks to bar Texas Tech from seeking to deter core years prevent or prevent and punish the Big 12 for exercising its rights under bylaws to sanction the university related to its handling of the sport by activity discussed in the complaint, including of TTU. I was gonna call them Tech at this point. If Tech fields a student athlete in Big 12 competition who is engaged in the did I just read this? No, I think that was the same code. Whatever. I think it's just reinforcing the quote, I guess. How long is this article? That's not terrible. The measures discussed by the Big 12 Executive Committee last week and a call included both financial penalties to the school and penalties related to eligibility. The Big 12's filing alludes to barring the school from the conference championship as a potential sanction, which means they can't defend their Big 12 championship, which would continue the trend of no repeat champions, I guess, theoretically. Because think about it. You had a repeat champion in the Big 12 in a long time. 2020 was Oklahoma. 21 it was Baylor, I'm pretty sure. 22 it was Kansas State. 23 it was Texas. 24 it was Arizona State. 25 it was Texas Tech. I said BYU win the championship this year. I'm calling it, or the Big 12 championship. Um, yeah, anyways, let's see, the measure is discussed by the Big 12 committee last week called for financial penalties to the school and penalties related to eligibility. The Big 12's filing alludes to barring the school from the conference championship as a potential sanction. But I'll link this article down if y'all want to read through yourselves, if I remember at least. But I'm basically reading through all of it right now. Let's see. When one member institution allows a student athlete who admitted conduct creates serious integrity concerns to compete in conference games for conference championships, the consequences extend beyond that institution. The filing reads, "Watch Texas Tech can become independent. They're gonna become Notre Dame, bro." At this rate, I don't know. I don't think that's happening, but yeah, you never know. Tech's decision to associate with and not endorse a student athlete in this matter would affect opposing schools, student athletes, fans, broadcast partners, conference standings, championship eligibility, and the public reputation of the Big 12 as a whole. Uh, the suit also acknowledges the near unanimity in college athletes and Sorsby should not be allowed to play and mentions bans on Texas Tech, when playing Texas Tech by the athletic departments of Georgia and Nebraska. Uh, like we mentioned earlier, these industry reactions reflect a rational institution judgment shared by the industry experts and institutions even outside the conference that the presence of Sorsby documented history in the conference games creates a cloud of the legitimacy of those games because maybe he's betting against his own team or something. You never know. A reputational risk for that's a big reason why this is so elite because you're betting against you might be with or against your own team, especially against your own team is bad. So you'll purposely throw games or something. I don't know. A reputational risk for institutions that participate in them in an unequal playing field for member institutions who are upholding the values of the conference. Let's see. This suit is highly unusual. This suit is a highly unusual action from the conference. It comes that just shows how crazy the situation is. And it comes amid a volatile situation. Big 12 athletic directors have been outspoken, both publicly and in meetings, and saying that they don't want President Sorsby playing. Various athletic directors in the league have used the terms disgusted, disheartened, and sad over the judge's ruling to grant the injunction allows Sorsby to play. The Big 12's legal filing Monday follows through on that center. The Big 12 and its member institutions apparently save Tech, have no interest in being required to endorse or even appearing to endorse unethical and indeed unlawful conduct that checks the heart of athletic integrity filing. So yeah, that's a huge thing right there. The suit also adds a layer of ambiguity to Sorsby's future. Sorsby is technically eligible to play because of the local court injunction. Yeah, local court, bro. Real, how's that supposed to work? A deadline listed in Sorsby's lawsuit to declare for supplemental draft. Or just the deadline listed in Sorsby's lawsuit to declare for the supplemental draft is June 22nd, which is the draft for players that can't play or something. Hey, the Cleveland Browns might have an open spot. Texas Tech did not respond to the request from comment on the lawsuit. So I mean, at this rate, if Brennan Sorsby could go to there, I don't know what happens after that. I'm assuming lawsuit still goes on, but yeah. But yeah, there you go. I didn't realize it was an injunction to play in 2026. Yeah, but even Deion Sanders is talking about it. Let's see. Oh, that's sad. Rest in peace. Nebraska assistant for 30 seasons past. So rest in peace. But yeah, this is all coming, by the way. All this lawsuit stuff coming 2 months before the season starts. And Texas Tech's first game is not terribly far, less than 3 months away from now when they play Abilene Christian. Uh, yeah. Or Texas at this, who knows? But I guess I can give y'all my thoughts on the situation. It's just such a screwed up situation, bro. Like, I'll be honest. It's so unclear. A lot of these stuff's unclear. Like maybe it's clear, maybe I don't know. It's very weird, but in my opinion, I think what the original ruling was for Sorsby was fine. Like banning your own games is not a good thing, bro. Like come on, bro. Like especially if you have an addiction to it, like at least ban him for the season. Take away your eligibilities. I don't know. At least give him some kind of like actual punishment, not just 2 games suspended. No. No, in my opinion, I think the original ruling was fine. Um, I think I think that's what he. I think that's a valid punishment. But when the freaking local court of all things made him eligible to play, that's when things started to get out of hand. Like, really? Like, a local court, bro. Like, that obviously was a little biased because it was a Texas local court. Maybe he was, I don't know. If this was like a Texas, I don't know. Maybe it's like a Texas Tech fan, I don't know. But I don't know about much about the government and all that. But yeah, just about the judge that allowed him to play. But it's gotten to a point. Honestly, I'm not terribly shocked it's a lawsuit going on, but this just shows you how broken the NCAA sanction body can be sometimes. How on earth does a local court have more authority than a freaking than the freaking league, bro? Like, I don't get it, bro. But it's got to federal court, and at this point, the NCAA needs better sanctioning, bro. Like, they need to like find a way to they probably need a commissioner at this point, like for all of college football or even all of NCAA at this point. I don't know if they have one or not, but like it does feel like people are making their own rules at this point, and this just kind of shows that like you're going against the rules, but you get banned and you get unbanned by someone else. It seems random, but it's just a weird, messed up situation. Now, I don't know all the details. Like there might be maybe no one, maybe there's details none of us knows about. Like maybe like Sorsby was like maybe Sorsby was I don't know. Maybe there's an underlying rule in the rule book. You never know. I don't know, but it's clearly against the NCAA. But NCAA made their word clear that they can't play. They can't play. But then what happened? Like there's been similar cases with this. Like Trinidad Champ was eligible to play this year. Like that's a show. Like I mean, good for him. He's come back. It's not like he did anything wrong necessarily. But it definitely is very sketchy that he's playing that this year. Um, yes, yes, I know that he came from a D Division two college and he only played like a few games last year. But obviously, those games he looked really good in. But yeah, he played most of the season. To be fair, yeah, because whenever LSU got beat by Ole Miss, like oh, that's not good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that so we've seen these type of situations like. It seems like court, like Diego Pavia stuff, like there needs to be more of a baseline, and this is why the Protect College Sports Act is also huge. I think they probably need to add something about this too. Yeah, that's why I think the Protect College Sports Act is necessary for very much necessary for college sports, especially college football. But yeah, it's not even eligibility thing at this point. Well, technically it is, but not like how many years eligible. It's doing something wrong at this point. Like the year thing, yeah, it's a little unclear because of the COVID stuff back then, obviously. But in this case, it should be much more clear Sorsby should not play. You know, it's like yeah, and at this point, I think Kim Pax is making threats just so you can like scare him. I don't know. I'm not trying to come to any conclusions. I'm just making assumptions. Yeah, assumptions. Sorry. Yeah, but what do I know? But this court case will probably this will probably be because I remember NASCAR got sued by 2211 Front Row. If y'all know, if I'm watching NASCAR, that lawsuit took forever to resolve itself because it's not like it was extremely urgent necessarily for this one. Because I imagine this one's gonna, I imagine there'll be injunctions granted, obviously, but I imagine this has to move much faster. I imagine we'll move much faster because I mean, if you only got a few months before the season starts, like, yeah, if Texas Tech is found guilty of like trying to cheat the rule book, who knows what the penalties could be? I don't. It could be up to a death penalty. You never. I don't think it'll be a death penalty, but um, bowl ban I could see happening. Big 12 championship ban for sure. Postseason ban mainly, so they wouldn't be eligible for the playoffs or anything like that. Like be like Auburn that one year they went undefeated, I think, and then they did not even weren't even eligible for the postseason. Yeah. That's just a very shady situation. But justice will hopefully be served in one way or another. Yeah, but just a weird situation. We'll probably update the situation more as it goes along, but yeah. But wow situation. I'm not even a Texas Tech fan or even not even a Texas Tech hater. And I imagine Texas Tech will probably get sued, get some money taken out at least. So imagine that the Big 12 is gonna probably get their way. We'll see. I don't know. It's very hard to tell sometimes because you never know with these court cases. If the evidence looks clear, it's not always as clear as it looks. I'll put it like that. Yeah. Yeah, this was a very long video. I'm very sorry this took forever, but I forgot to give my thoughts and summarize the situation. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Have a nice day and goodbye. See you on the next one. Peace.